Welcome to the Edge Unlock Summit, where we dive deep into strategies that help business entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and investors not just survive, but thrive in 2025. The world is changing fast, markets are shifting, industries are evolving, and the noise is getting louder than ever. So, how do we increase our profits, avoid overwhelm, and create time freedom while standing out in a saturated market? Well, today I'm honored to have a true financial powerhouse with us, Lynn Kitchen. Lynn is not just a financial consultant and educator, she's a pioneer. She built and sold not one, but two investment advisory firms, making her one of the first women on the West Coast to build her own brokerage. She's the founder of Money Talks for Women, where she empowers investors to become confident money managers, make smarter investment decisions, and accelerate their path to financial freedom. Lynn believes that inside every woman is an ace money manager just waiting to be empowered. And today, she's here to show us exactly how to navigate 2025 with financial confidence. So get ready to take notes because this conversation is going to be packed with practical strategies, expert insights, and real world takeaways. Lynn, welcome to the Edge Unlocked. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Deb. I'm so excited to be here and to be with you. And you're always doing some amazing work, and this is, I think, a truly important topic. And this is truly I think, a year that we will all want to live, as you mentioned, in a way that we thrive, profit and thrive. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you, with all the economic shifts happening in 2025, uncertainty of interest rates, market fluctuations, and AI-driven changes in the industries, what are the biggest financial opportunities that you see for entrepreneurs and business owners this year?
I think the biggest opportunity, and it's kind of a loaded question because oftentimes when you are moving through volatility, it's a time of a double-edged sword because volatility and all of this change, and I do agree with you, it's a hyper change, hyper swift change, so fast even that we may miss it. We may miss opportunities. So it's really important for us to be aware, awake and aware that now we are shifting into a time of high velocity, high volatility, at least in the markets, lots of change. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's also potential for loss.
Mhm.
So it's like a two-edged coin where one must really be aware of what you already own to protect what you own in the face of changing markets, and then have enough cash, for example, on the sideline so that you'll be ready to take advantage of opportunities that come your way. Because volatility, what is that? It's nothing more than price. It's price action, up, down, and it can be very swift. So if you are swift-minded, you can take advantage and have some profitability. This is going to be a great year for traders in the investment arena. Not so great maybe for long-term investors. However, if we have a correction in the market, which I believe that we will, then long-term investors will have a rare opportunity to buy quality companies on sale. And that's how you really earn wealth over the long run, buying quality assets when they are priced correctly, not chasing them and buying them at inflated prices, which is what we've been experiencing last year.
Mhm. I like that. I like about the be ready and that you still might miss opportunities. You
Yes,
know,
and it's really a mindset, it's a skill set that we can all get better at.
awesome. Well, many business owners struggle with inconsistent cash flow. What are some simple smart money habits that they can implement right now to create more financial stability and predictability in their business?
Predictability of cash flow is, I think, one of the things that we look for as investors. High predictability of cash flow. In fact, that's one of the tenets that I teach is to make sure that your everything that you do own, this is a time for you to go into your portfolio and double, triple check to know what you do own. And the companies that you own in your portfolio need to have predictable cash flow. Predictability of cash flow and predictability of earnings is the number one thing that I look for as a portfolio manager. And how do you find that? There are ways to look at the predictability of a company's cash flow so that you know that you are invested in a company that has predictability, because predictability equates the possibility that we can predict in the future a future price, a future valuation. And if it's unpredictable, then that increases the risk. Now, if you want to take that same rule of thumb and apply it to your own business, so shift your hat from being an investor for a minute
Okay.
and shift it over here to being a business owner, then you are under the same constriction or restriction or even commandment, I should say, that you must create cash flow that is predictable so that your business has a predictable valuation over time. As interest rates change up and down, that changes the way we value future earnings. And this cash flow, this idea of predictability in cash flow, is even more important now in a volatile market than ever before. Your question was, how do you create predictable cash flow? That is really a $64,000 question. First of all, you better have enough clients that are generating the cash flow. But in a time of volatility, sometimes it's important for you to really look at the cash flow, the I would say look to see what kind of seasonality that you have in your cash flow. See if you can make those changes differently. Oftentimes, Microsoft is a good example of a company that went from selling their software outright, on a transactional basis. Instead, in order to create predictability of their cash flow and predictability of their earnings, they shifted a couple years ago to a fee-based software. And that made all the difference in their business. So it might behoove you to take a look at how you can create consistent monthly cash flow that won't be seasonal. And there's lots of different ways to do so.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. I like that because there could just be one key strategy that you pivot a little bit that could make all the difference.
That's right. And I think seasonality is a bugaboo,
Okay.
because you might have a huge sale or lots of your cash flow coming in around Christmas. Certainly retailers have that.
Hmm.
But then they have promotions throughout the year to try to uh, really smooth out their cash flow. So you have to be thinking of seasonal promotions, marketing ideas, and strategies, as you mentioned. Well, I mean, this is a subject we could talk about for about 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Um, well, when I have 4 months, I need to give you a call because I could talk about it too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you say that inside every woman is an ace money manager. I love that. And what are the top three financial skills that every entrepreneur needs to master to create real financial independence?
Well, I'm going to put a slide up if it's okay with you.
Sure.
First, actually, this is a warning slide that I used in my most recent masterclass because I do think that this year, 2025, we need to wake up. We need to make sure that we are aware that major change is happening ahead. And in
Mhm.
order to be a great investor, we need to really understand that we're moving into, I believe, a sea change, as you had talked about at the beginning of this program. But
Mhm.
I'm really calling for a tectonic in economic shift here. I think it's like tectonic plates that are completely shifting in time that will change the rules that we think about. Interest rates being one rule, and as I mentioned before, when interest rates change, then you value your earnings and your cash flow differently over time, and that's going to shift the prices very, very quickly. So we do have a lot of potentiality for enormous loss and enormous gains based upon what kind of astute investors we can become. So to answer your question, here's my three things that I think that we all need. Number one, to make sure that we look upon ourselves as investors as the CEO of our own life. We are at the helm. And even
Mhm.
those of us who have hired outside money managers, investment advisors, be careful not to think that that takes you off the hook. Be careful that you're not abdicating your responsibility to somebody else who is making decisions on your behalf, and you may really not understand the assumptions that they are taking with your money.
Yeah.
And it's very important for you to be really, really aware now more than ever of what are your goals and what are your assumptions and what are you trying to build during volatility. These are the three things I think every investor is going to be needing this year in 2025, more than last year, which was, the year before. We've had 2 years of easy bull market, up
Mhm.
20% for 2 years in a row, and we all started to feel like, oh, this could that last forever. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. The rubber band that gets stretched out awfully far is going to come back and contract. This is what we're going to need. We're going to need these three things.
Okay.
Number one, we must get smarter. We need to get smarter as investors, as business owners,
Mhm.
to radically own what we do own, understand what it is that we do own, understand the resources that we have, understand we have more resources than we even think we do. Our relationships are resources.
Mhm.
We need to get smarter by means of talking to people, gathering people around us who we can learn from. And then number two is to get a roadmap that you can follow. And what I mean by a roadmap is going from where you are now
Mhm.
out into the future 10, 20, 30 years and really putting a roadmap together so that you have milestones in the future, similar to goals, but that have a price tag on them. For example, maybe 20 years from now or 10 years from now, if you have small children, you need to put them through college. That could cost $400,000 for 4 years of schooling in the future,
Mhm.
10, 15, 20 years from now because of inflation. So that roadmap, we need to start now trying to understand what's going to be required in the future as we move through inflation. That would also be true for another milestone, for example, retirement. How much, put a number on that. You've heard that many times, but
Mhm.
make it personal. This is a time in which investors often make things too complicated.
Mhm.
We don't need complication. We need a simple roadmap that excites you, that gets your passions going, that you really want to invest for the eventuality of these things being realities in your life. So we need a simple roadmap. I love working with investors to keep it simple. And then thirdly, I think get a mentor.
Mhm.
A mentorship, in my view, is the ground wire to greatness. A mentor around you that's been through what you want to go through. I mean, that has accomplished what you want, has had the experience in potentially volatile markets, um, someone who has built several businesses and can help you move through certain problems,
Hmm.
get a mentor. And I think that
Yeah.
these three simple things this year, if you do these three things this year, you will set yourself up for the next decade. We will not recognize ourselves 5 years from now. All of the economics right now are shifting so quickly
Hmm.
with AI, robotics, medical improvements. Our life as we know it today and all of the things that we use on a normal day-to-day basis will completely shift
Hmm.
again. And so it behooves us all to really make sure that we are at the helm making these decisions.
I love that. And I like that you talked about keeping it simple because I think if it's not simple, then you take no action.
Exactly. We get
Yeah.
overwhelmed
Yeah.
and we begin to feel like the world is too big, it's going too fast. Just slow down.
Hmm.
Make it personal. Come back to yourself. What is it that you want to accomplish? This has nothing to do with the outside world. Let's take a look at what's going to be the most important thing for you, and then match your salaries, match your investments, match what it is that you are making your decisions toward, match that with the outcome that you want and how much time it's going to take to get there.
I like that. Well, you talked a little bit about this, but maybe there's more in there, in this world of constantly being bombarded with financial advice and some good and some bad. How do entrepreneurs cut through the noise and make the right financial decisions for their business and for themselves?
Yes. Noise is noisy, isn't it?
Hmm.
Noise is noisy. I'm going to change this again because this has a little bit to do with getting ready for noise. This is a very, very simple chart of what happens when we get overcome by a lot of noise. We
Okay.
move through our emotions.
Hmm.
Very, very simple chart on, getting optimistic excitement when we have a bull market. I don't care if it's in the stock market or the real estate market. These are the emotions that happen. We move to euphoria at the top of the market. I think that we really have seen a lot of euphoria in the markets with AI, technology, and so forth. But guess what? This is the point of the maximum risk as well. When we are feeling the most euphoric, because we actually numb out and we think, oh, I'm so smart,
Hmm.
you know. But what can happen very quickly is that the noise can get overwhelming, and we begin to react to the noise with anxiety and then denials, oftentimes fear. But I'd like you to see that this is actually quite a normal curve that could replicate very easily. It looks very much the same as a normal economic cycle. Take a look
Hmm.
at this. Up and down, up and down, up and down. It's
Yeah.
just that from an individual perspective, take us all together, this is what happens to us collectively. And this is the economy, the economic movement of the GDP, gross domestic product on this side, and then time on that side. The markets go up in an expansion, just like we've had, almost 20 years of 16 years of a bull market,
Hmm.
probably one of the longest bull market runs we've ever had that I've lived through. And I've lived through about almost 50 years of them.
Hmm.
And then we move back down into a contraction and we get very, very upset, fearful,
Hmm.
and anxious because the noise gets very, very loud. But
Hmm.
all that's really happening is a normal contraction. And then we go through a growth stage again to an expansion and a contraction. And that is what is happening all the time in the economy and not necessarily something for us to fear.
Okay.
So as we can move into getting more education,
Hmm.
to understand where we are in a cycle, and we can just say, "Oh my gosh, now we're at the peak." Uh, so it's not necessarily time to panic. It's just time to take some action, and you need to know what kind of actions to take that will be that will put you into safety and still set you up for opportunities. When you move into contraction, you want to be able to take advantage of the next opportunities ahead to move into that growth phase. And these are learnable. These are learnable tools that you can learn. I don't care if you're a beginning investor or a seasoned investor. We always have to kind of go through this again and again because we get caught up with the noise.
I like that. Thank you so much. Um, well, time is a huge factor for entrepreneurs. So
Yes, it is.
they're focused on running their businesses, marketing and sales, and how can they build a simple automated wealth building system that works for them without adding overwhelm?
I love that question, and really, it's quite a simple answer. Just do it. Just,
I like
just,
that.
yeah, just automate it because we have new tools now. We've moved into a fintech world. It's an automated world. It used to be quite difficult for investors to, every month take a piece of their um, salary and allocate it to your savings account, and then you have to
Mhm.
move it into your investment account, and then you have to buy and or sell. There was a lot of personal energy and
Mhm.
overwhelm can happen. Now it's all automated. And you can have a percentage taken from your salary every month, just like an automaton. And
Mhm.
you can make these decisions so automated that you don't have to think about it. But what is cool about that is that in advance, you can set this up as if this is your strategy. It's a strategic move, and that way you almost have a forced savings account that way. And yes, let's say you get a forced savings account, you take a percentage of your salary up front. That means you get to pay yourself first.
Yeah,
That might go immediately into your IRA or your 401k to maximize your investments for your retirement. You might have additional monies going into Roth IRAs or your trust accounts so that will be, allocated to investing in toward one of those other milestones. This can be so automated that you don't have to think about it, and we have the tools now that make it quite easy. So
I
just
like
taking
that.
advantage of those tools takes a little upfront setting it up, but then you've got it. And after a while, after it's been automated for a while, you begin to see how easy. In retrospect, you go, oh my gosh, that was not that hard.
Yeah,
I've already, in the last 2 years, boom, 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 I've
yeah.
started to build something of quality for myself, and it's mine.
I like that. So for the audience, just do it, get it done today, and you will thank your future self. So do it today. Set up those automations, and you will thank Lynn for reminding you to get that done.
That's right.
Well, Lynn, you've built and sold two successful financial firms. What were the biggest mindset shifts that helped you scale your businesses and create wealth?
Those businesses, investment advisory, is a people business. And so really the mindset is service.
I like that.
Probably true for every business, but I think
Yeah.
more likely, in the business that I had excelled in, it's a people business, and you need the mindset of service so that you put your clients first, their needs first, and then you celebrate with them along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always looking to grow your partnership with them over time so that you can contribute to the value that you add, that your firm adds, that your products add to the
Mm-hmm.
quality of their life over time. And when we can contribute to someone else's success, it not only feels good, as a business owner, but it really is giving back and creating impact and value. After all, creation of value is what it's all about in business. So it doesn't matter really what industry group.
Mm-hmm.
I love it that you mentioned it's a mindset. And when you have the right mindset, you can scale very quickly.
I like that. Well, one of the biggest fears entrepreneurs have is not having enough saved for retirement or for their whatever their goals are, their financial goals, because
Yes.
they're always reinvesting in their businesses. How can business owners balance investing in growth while securing their financial future?
Balance is a wonderful word. Let's just go back to the cycle, the idea of cycles again, and
Okay.
pretend that you're an investment, an owner, a business owner, and this is your life. This is the cycles of your business. We do have this in common with the overall economy as business owners. Our
Hmm.
businesses have, growth spurts, and then we have contraction spurts. Then we have growth spurts and contraction spurts, and it's normal. This is one thing to understand. Once you begin to really have a growth spurt, those are the times to put away more money in your own pocket
Hmm.
than ever. So increase the percentages that you are automatically putting toward
Hmm.
your own savings and or retirement. As we move through contraction, you can back off a little bit. You're going to need that money potentially to plow back into your own business.
Hmm.
And oftentimes you want to plow that back into your own business at a point when you can get the maximum value out of your investment into your own business. So purchasing equipment or whatever it is that you need for a future growth spurt, you want
Hmm.
to buy it at a time when it's cheap.
Yeah.
You don't want to overpay for growth of your own business. So it's very, very similar uh, that we are cyclical creatures after all. I don't care if it's being a business owner or an investor, but to be able to really make decisions based upon uh, the good times, taking advantage of those, socking it away for ourselves, making sure that those goals that we have for ourselves are paramount, that they come first. Why? Because this is why we're in business. After all,
Hmm.
our businesses are no more than a vehicle, one investment vehicle, only one that you have chosen to fund and to place your life energy into
Hmm.
in order to give you a return on that investment over time. So
Hmm.
you need to make sure that you are paying yourself over time so that you can at the end of your life look back and say, that was a great run. That was the best investment that I could have made. That investment in my own business trumped any other investment that I could have made in the markets or the public markets or the private markets. You want to be able to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
And it just makes sense that then therefore you have a personal strategy, both as an owner and as, the CEO of not just your business, but the CEO of your own life.
Yeah.
Two priorities, equally important.
Yeah. I like that. Well, finally, with all the financial uncertainty, market shifts, and rapid pace of change, if an entrepreneur is listening today and they feel financially stuck, what's the number one action step they should take right now to start moving toward financial confidence and success this year?
And I'm going to just go back to those three things that I talked about before. If you're
Sure.
feeling stuck, it might be a symptom. It's a
Okay.
symptom. It's not the problem. It's just a symptom. So let's just go back to this slide that I had before,
Sure.
if I can find it, um, where we talk about let's get smarter.
Yeah.
If we feel stuck, it might be because we just feel like we don't have the education, we don't have the understanding, we don't have, we're just, we don't have the confidence.
Hmm.
It takes confidence as an investor to invest in the next big thing, AI or technology or even, whatever it is that is going to be the next vehicle toward our wealth. That takes confidence. And if we're feeling stuck, oftentimes it means that we need to get smarter.
Hmm.
Secondly, a roadmap. You need to understand where you are now with what you've got. Take a moment to really look at what you do have. You may
Hmm.
have a lot more than you think you do. You may be undercutting and undervaluing what you already do have.
Yeah.
Either that or you don't understand what you have.
Hmm.
So take some time to really start right there at the beginning of the roadmap. Where am I now? What are the resources that I have available to me?
Hmm.
And make a strategic plan over time and start getting excited. Oftentimes we feel stuck because I feel handcuffed.
Hmm.
But what's going to get us excited is our own future growth. So those milestones in the future are what we're investing toward. And that should get us going. That should get us up in the morning and want to make sure that we maximize our um, every step along the way. And we can do this in baby steps. It doesn't have to be big leaps. So this is something that if you're feeling stuck, you don't have to do big, big, big things. Baby steps, as they said, are
Yeah.
how you get all the way up to Mount Everest. So I'm advocating getting smarter, but also taking baby steps, starting right where you are with what you have. And we always have more than we think we do,
Hmm.
you know, and put a little strategic plan in place and get excited about where you're going with your own money. And then get a mentor. If you feel stuck, call me. Get a mentor. Find
Hmm.
somebody that you can trust that's been there, done that, and that can speak a very clear language to you and help you.
I like that. Well, this conversation has been packed with value, and I know our audience is walking away with actionable steps to build financial confidence and security. If someone wants to connect with you and learn from you or be a part of your Money Talks for Women movement, where should they go?
Thank you. I am going to give your audience a free invitation, a free gift. I will be having an educational masterclass coming up in June. I would love to give you all a free ticket.
Awesome.
It's a free masterclass. It's 3 hours of really good deep dive training in masterclass in mindset and skill set of investing. And it's coming up June 4th. And if you would be so kind to just take we provided a QR code
Okay.
for all of you. Just take a picture of that and go right to the place where we will reserve your spot for this masterclass, but also you get immediately a PDF downloadable today that you can download today. And that is an investor guide that I have prepared for you so that you can take a look at some of the most important critical things that I think are important in today's market 2025. So you'll receive that PDF immediately. We'll get you all signed up as a complimentary ticket holder for my next masterclass, if that is what you want. And then finally, you'll have a way to get in touch with me personally there as well, if that's what you would love.
Well, thank you. I'm going to attend. So I'm going to make sure that I'm there and I sign up. So it sounds like,
Oh, you're
you've taught us
welcome.
so much today, and I would love to continue and learn more from you. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for that.
You are welcome. I couldn't be more pleased. You are welcome to be there, Deb, and everyone else who's watching. I think it will have a lot of fun and learn how we can move in the direction of building wealth for you.
I like that. I can't wait. So, but thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your wisdom with us today. And for everyone watching, remember, financial freedom doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. Take what you've learned today and put it into action. If you found this conversation valuable, share this with a fellow entrepreneur who needs to hear it. Stay tuned for more expert interviews here at Edge Unlocked. And until next time, keep unlocking your edge. And thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.